Both results counting from this first MX1, MX2 combined is America is leading 13 points from Australia on 20, tied with Germany and Belgium all on 20 points actually. Italy down on 22 and Spain 26. But you take away the first moto, is America from Italy, Australia, Spain, France, Germany, Belgium and Great Britain down in 8th. So if Wilson could overtake Steve Ramon, then that'll be 7th for Great Britain with the best result from this first moto.
It'll also be interesting to talk to Cairoli afterwards and find out a little bit what happened in this race, because he was setting similar lap times to Dungey and he stayed behind him for a couple of laps. But it just seems like Ryan has had probably not better condition, but certainly a better established race pace. I mean, that's what some of the guys in the AMA were saying this year, that Dungey, like from 20 minutes on, was really just uncatchable. He was just an unbeatable rider, of course, the AMA champion.
And similar to what Cairoli does, you know, 20 minutes into a 40-minute moto, similar kind of deal. So both guys very physically fit. The altitude here, though, the bike's not running as fast as they normally would. Obviously, that was a concern for KTM with Tony Cairoli riding a 350 against the factory 450 Suzuki of Ryan Dungey. But spoke to him this morning, Tony, or spoke to him yesterday, and he said, actually, no, the bike is working really good. So I don't think it's a bike problem. It's just, I think he just made one or two mistakes, probably got caught behind one or two back markers when we didn't see, and lost the toe and knew that it was going to be too big a deal to go and chase somebody like Ryan Dungey. I
mean, like you were saying earlier, boys, a little bit more rutted than it was yesterday, so perhaps it's just been a bit harder on that 350 to get the grunt to complete. I mean, he cased the quad a couple of times. He was using a little bit of a different line. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. And
it's hard and slick in some places as well. You see just a little puff of chalk dust there, just coming up over the uphill triple. But Ryan Dungey's certainly got this one in the bag. 6.5 seconds clear as he works his way around the final lap. Obviously backing it off a little bit on that Suzuki.
And in the last lap there, Steve Ramon actually set a better lap than Dean Wilson, so I think it's going to stay 8th place for the youngster for Britain, and Steve Ramon keeping that 7th place for Belgium. But of course, the MX2 guys have only got an hour before they're out again, Paul. Well, less than an hour.
Less than an hour. So, but Ryan Dungey not showboating at all. Well, I think we had a conversation about that, didn't we? Yeah. You know, this guy reminds me a little bit of Stefan Everts, but with like more of a classic American riding style in the fact that they're both economical with their how they move around on the bike. They try to conserve as much energy as possible. You know, there's no point of whipping it and scrubbing it if you don't need to. And Ryan Dungey just epitomising that. He's on his final lap, and he's still not really showboating, and I think that's a great thing to see, because he knows as well now, being the second Motocross of Nations, there's still a long way to go in this event.
Yeah, and I think even Stefan cut out the showboating after waving to the crowd on the last lap of South Africa. I don't think he'll be one of the reminded of that.
A few years ago, yeah, absolutely. But Ryan Dungey then drops down the hill, takes the quad jump for the final time in this first MX1, MX2 moto. He rounds the final corner, and Ryan Dungey for Team USA takes the checkered flag, and a very muted celebration for the American as he crosses the line. Tony Cairoli will cross